All right, I don't know if kinder and gentler is the word, but there's certainly not a typical press conference when you see the kind of questions that President Trump gets. Not that that's bad, but shouldn't it be consistent? Michael Goodwin thinks so. Pulitzer Prize winning columnist, much more, joins us now. Very stark contrast. And I always tell people, Michael, regardless of what you think of Donald Trump, consistency is in order here, and it wasn't in order there.
Right. Hello, Neil. You get the sense that this is a press corps that is on Joe Biden's side. And I think we know that's the case, that they don't like Donald Trump. They don't like him politically, but many of them don't like him personally. And I think that for them, getting a replacement would be everything. And Biden, of course, part of the Obama administration, treated gently all through his 8 years as vice president. I saw a story the other day, for example, on Fox News that I hadn't seen anywhere else, and I haven't seen it since, that the exorbitant amounts that Biden paid to the executives of his cancer charity, that basically gave away no money but paid astronomical salaries by charity standards to its executives. I mean, that's the kind of thing that if Donald Trump did that, I mean, we know how his charity was treated by the media. But that's the sort of thing that's the double standard that's been going on since Trump came down that escalator. And the media clearly wants Joe Biden to be the next president.
Well, I would say, the president will get a lot of what comes at him from the way he responds and maybe the agitation he delivers. But fair is fair. If you're going to go after the president, as you say, on charities and other related issues, you should at least apply the same standards to the vice president, even coverage of the vice president. I saw the same exchange with the press he had in Delaware as everyone else. And I didn't come away with this, heroic image that he did a great job. I did find him stammering a lot, losing his train of thought. Trust me, I'm younger than the vice president. That's me every day. So don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying that was fair criticism to say he lost his place. He seemed to stumble. He seemed to look out of touch. Point it out. But no, I'm reading the media reaction, and I thought it was, FDR. But that's where I think you do a disservice in the media when, if you're going to be tough and an SOB on one, you should apply the same tough standards on the other. I don't see that.
Well, Neil, seeing the bias in the media is a lot like seeing a lot of ugly things. You can't unsee it. And so once you see that bias, once you recognize it's there, then you take a fairly routine event like yesterday's press conference, and you realize what softball questions they are, what a gentle approach to it. Now, Donald Trump is probably more accessible than any president in modern times. Biden has been hiding. The one reporter we heard there say, "I hope you'll do this more often." Well, Donald Trump does it routinely, and yet he gets no credit for that. But the media, by the same token, does not blame Biden for not doing it. So the double standard is from the word go. It's in every question that's asked virtually. It's in how the stories are played, what stories are selected, what the lead is, how it's displayed in newspapers, where it falls in the rotation of television. The bias, it just reeks. And I agree with you. All we're asking for is a single standard. I think that's what American life is really about. We all play by the same rules. There's one standard for everybody. And the media, which in many ways historically helped to promulgate that idea, has totally broken down in the age of Trump because it so loathes him that it will break its own rules. The FBI broke its own rules to try to stop Donald Trump. The CIA did. The media does. That is what we're witnessing throughout the country, is this sense of double standards, that Donald Trump is so bad that no rule, no law, no standard can withstand it. We have to break them all in order to defeat Donald Trump. I think that is the message that we see loud and clear every day in the American media.
Yeah, and I know people see things through their own prism, and then, if you don't like the guy, you're going to be negative about the guy. The president is no fan of mine, and I get that. But my point is, whatever standards we apply is to calling balls and strikes and get it right, the same should be applied to the former vice president, who seems like a fine human being, don't get me wrong, but that was not a Churchillian performance yesterday. And I don't think you're being unfair to point it out, to use some examples, and to have it out and discuss it. It doesn't work the other way. But let me switch gears a little bit. Some thoughts that obviously got to a New York Post cover today, thanks to your really focusing on this police funding cutback that they want to get done in New York City. And you made it very, very clear. You talk about, stabbing them in the back. Well, they're stabbing them in the front, and you don't like it.
No, look, Neil, I think that sort of this young movement today, the protesters, the demonstrators, defund the police. People don't understand the history of crime in New York. They want to blame the cops for everything bad that's happened, but in fact, the police helped to save New York. They were the saving grace of this city. Over 50 years, we have seen two tremendous trends in crime. Starting in the mid-1960s, crime shot up in New York and most urban areas. And starting with and it lasted until the 1990s, until the election of Rudy Giuliani in 1993. And beginning in 1994, we see crime go in the other direction. We now seem to be at another turning point. And in this atmosphere, to cut the police is crazy. You've got murders are up by 25% in New York in the first 6 months of the year. 25%. That is a huge increase. It's not a spike. It's a real trend now. And to cut the police force, to say we're not going to replace officers, we're going to cancel the next recruiting class, that is a sign that says we are not going to enforce the law as vigorously as we did in the past. You couple that with decriminalizing a lot of public disorder issues and the bail so-called reform laws that basically let everybody out as soon as they're arrested, and you have a real recipe for a new era of high crime and violent crime that I believe is being ushered in almost intentionally by politicians who know better, who have seen what happens when the police can't answer or don't answer 911 calls, or when they get there, they're not allowed to make arrests, or if they make an arrest, the person is released. This is really a formula for disaster in New York and across the country.